In this edition of the Parliament Report, Public Defender warns Commission of Inquiry into Tivoli siege. IMF approves extended fund facility. China Harbour Engineering Company eyes mega investment in Jamaica. And NHT goodies for public sector workers. Public Defender Earl Witter has called for a thorough commission of inquiry into activities of the security forces and gunmen during what he describes as a siege of Tivoli Gardens in May 2010. The call is contained in an interim report detailing the events of May 2010, in which 76 people were killed in alleged confrontation with members of the security forces. One soldier also died during the operation. After missing several deadlines, the report was tabled in Parliament on May 1. It highlights that provisional claims for 688 persons who have submitted 1,295 documented complaints are computed at a little more than $110.8 million. Mr. Witter also wants both Police Commissioner Owen Ellington and then Chief of Defence Staff, now retired Major General Stuart Saunders, as well as other senior personnel to testify about their oversight operations before a judicial inquiry. The Public Defender is also recommending that former Prime Minister and then Chairman of the Defence Board Bruce Golding and his National Security Minister at that time, Dwight Nelson, to testify at the constituted Commission of Inquiry. In relation to the proposed claims, Witter said they would not take into account personal injury, detention and compensation in relation to alleged extrajudicial killings. The report drew on several hundred handwritten statements of complaints and witnesses who gave accounts of what happened to them, their relatives, friends and neighbors at the hands of the security forces. It also reviewed statements furnished by state security personnel to the Bureau of Special Investigations and from what Witter called authoritative sources. After months of tough negotiations, the Portia Simpson Miller administration on May 1 received approval for an extended fund facility with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips made the announcement in Gordon House, the seat of Jamaica's Parliament, on May 1, to thunderous applause from 38 of his government colleagues who jeered an uncharacteristically silent opposition. The agreement will make available to the government more than US $200 million in the first drawdown. Under the IMF accord, Jamaica will receive approximately US $958 million. Dr. Phillips, who closed the budget debate on May 1, pointed out that the IMF agreement would unlock US $1 billion of loan support from the World Bank and the Inter-American Development Bank. The finance minister was at pains to point out that the agreement does not represent a solution to the challenges facing the country. China Harbour Engineering Company is now considering the establishment of a massive industrial park in Jamaica. This move follows the company's decision to shelve earlier plans to develop a new transshipment port at the Fort Augusta in St. Catherine. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller says the company has radically expanded the scope of its projected investment interest in the island. Preliminary estimates of what is being described as a mega investment are between US $1.2 billion and US $1.5 billion. It will consist of transshipment facilities, a logistics center, industrial plant, a cement plant, and perhaps a power plant. The Prime Minister says the project will be implemented over a 5-year period, and during the construction phase, some 2,000 persons will be employed. After its completion, the industrial park is expected to employ approximately 10,000 workers. A package of benefits from the National Housing Trust, the NHT, for public sector workers who had agreed to a wage freeze until 2015 was unveiled by Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller during her contribution to the 2013-2014 budget debate. As a reward for the sacrifices made by government employees, the Prime Minister announced that 250 acres of land has been identified in Ebony Vale, St. Catherine, to build houses for public sector workers. According to the Prime Minister, other suitable parcels of land would also be identified for government employees. Arguing that the government had not taken the sacrifices of public sector workers for granted, the Prime Minister also reeled off a string of incentives from the NHT to public servants. The 1% reduction in interest rates to government employees up to March 31, 2013 has been extended until 2015. For the 4-year period, January 2014 to January 2017, public servants with NHT mortgages will be eligible for contribution refunds. The NHT policy on contribution refunds stipulates that these sums are applied to reduce the principal of the mortgages account in January of each year. However, this restriction will be removed from all public sector workers over the next 4 years. According to Simpson Miller, this initiative will benefit 31,000 public sector mortgagors who will have access to approximately $790 million annually. Additionally, beginning September 1 this year, public sector workers will be given a 15% discount on peril insurance premiums. At the same time, the Prime Minister sprinkled a few benefits on non-public sector NHT mortgages. For this group of mortgagors, there will be no increase in peril insurance rates for the current year of coverage spanning April 1 to March 31, 2014. The Trust has also increased loan limits on service lots in NHT schemes from $1.5 million to $2.5 million. This has been another edition of the Parliament Report. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Edmund Campbell saying, walk good.